Have you ever truly considered the sound? Not the deafening roar of the crowd, not the violent clash of sticks, but the whisper that trails behind him, a faint, almost imperceptible hiss on the ice, like something ancient stirring from a shallow, frozen grave, finally awakened by the cold. The accolades are not merely earned. They are collected, shimmering relics dedicated to an unsettling dominion, cold totems of an inexplicable power. Multiple Hart trophies, Art Ross effigies gleaming with a false promise of human triumph, the Ted Lindsay Award. Each is a cold, hard testament, not to talent as we understand it, but to a profound and unnerving control, a silent tribute demanded by forces barely understood, perhaps even ancient. He is, they proclaim with reverent, hushed tones, the most gifted of his generation, a captain whose very essence compels the Edmonton Oilers, twisting their collective will to his own inscrutable, chilling purpose, like puppets on invisible strings. But if you peer beyond the blinding flash of highlight reels, past the manufactured ecstasy and convenient narratives of the crowds, a more unsettling truth begins to unfurl, like a dark stain spreading across pristine linen. His blistering speed isn't merely acceleration, a triumph of human physiology pushed to its limits. It's a profound tear in the very fabric of what we understand as physical possibility. He doesn't skate. He shifts, a shadow stretching across the rink that devours space and time, leaving behind a momentary, chilling void, a vacuum that pulls at your gut, a ripple in reality that settles heavily in the pit of your stomach and makes the hair on your arm stand on end. He moves not with the predictable physics of a man, but with the disquieting grace of a predator phase shifting, a flicker of dark intent, too fast to be fully perceived, yet utterly undeniable in its terrifying reality. This relentless pursuit, this insatiable hunger for supremacy, it's not merely the product of grueling training or a competitive spirit born of passion. It's an ingrained, almost genetic imperative, a primal scream echoing from a hidden abyss, a cold, calculated obsession that transcends human understanding. Even as a child, long after the other children had shuffled home, their simple dreams of glory sated by the day's innocent play, McDavid would remain. The rink's echoing vastness would deepen around him, the air growing heavy with the metallic chill of late afternoon. Yet he stayed, alone, small figure against the empty expanse of ice, refusing to relinquish his grip on the moment. He would not leave until every single goalie, every phantom resistance, every imagined barrier, every shadow of opposition had fallen before his unyielding will. It wasn't practice. It was a tireless, chilling communion with the ice itself, a whispered vow made in the deepening twilight, a pact sealed in the growing darkness of an empty arena, long before the world knew his name, a quiet sacrifice offered to the chilling silence of the deserted stadium. His puck control isn't just elite. It's a silent, deeply disturbing adhesion, as if the rubber disc is no longer an inert object of play, a mere instrument, but a living extension of his very being, a pulsating nerve ending of his dark, predatory will. Observe closely, and a cold dread will creep into your bones, settling there like an unwelcome guest. There are moments, fleeting and terrifyingly precise, when his skates blur across the ice, a whirlwind of motion faster than any human limb or mind could possibly orchestrate. Yet the puck, inexplicably, remains glued, a parasitic twin clinging to his blade, bound by an invisible, unbreakable tether. It's not simply skill, honed through years of diligent effort. It's an unnatural bond, a profound violation of the very principles of friction, inertia, and even basic physics, as if the puck itself has been drawn into his orbit by an unseen, gravitational pull emanating from his core, enslaved by an alien imperative, a dark command whispered into its very molecules. This isn't mastery, it's absolute, horrifying ownership, a complete subjugation of material. His creativity, lauded as genius by those who marvel from afar, blind to the true nature of his gifts, is in fact a cruel, preternatural foresight, a dark oracle predicting, not merely anticipating plays, but dictating them, bending the future itself to his present, chilling whim, as if time itself is merely another toy to be manipulated. He doesn't merely see lanes, open passages on the ice. He carves them through the very bodies and despair of his opponents, leaving behind not just confused minds, but subtly shattered wills, fragments of ambition scattered like ice chips. Those who face him, the very best the league has to offer, often emerge from the encounter with vacant eyes, their descriptions of the experience less like a hockey game and more like an existential unraveling, a slow, terrifying descent into profound confusion. They speak of a different dimension, a reality subtly warped around his presence, where their own movements feel sluggish, their thoughts clouded, their reflexes dulled, as if the very air has grown heavy with a strange, alien essence, thick and cloying, pressing down on their very souls. They don't just lose games or points in the standings. They lose a piece of their understanding of the world, their perception altered, their senses dulled, their belief in order irrevocably shaken by the encounter with something fundamentally other, something that defies every known axiom of sport and sanity. One veteran defender, his career scarred by multiple encounters, once whispered with a shudder that playing against McDavid was like trying to catch a ghost made of liquid shadow, while your own feet are stuck in tar, and the ghost knows your every thought before you even think it. The puck, in his command, becomes a dark star, collapsing the light around it, pulling everything into its inexorable, horrifying trajectory, leaving only darkness in its wake. This isn't hockey as we know it. It's a grim, elegant ritual unfolding on an unwitting stage, a spectacle of engineer horror. The ice beneath him isn't merely frozen water, a simple surface for human endeavor. It's a canvas for an unfolding nightmare, stretched taut over a fathomless abyss, a thin, fragile membrane separating our reality from something unspeakable, something ancient and hungry. When he skids, that nearly inaudible hiss isn't the clean, familiar sound of steel on ice, but something else entirely, a whisper of chitinous friction, an almost fungal exhalation, a sibilant sigh that seems to emanate from the very depths of the rink, from the very core of the earth itself, carrying the stench of damp earth and something long dead. His famed blistering speed isn't a burst of human energy or athletic prowess. It's the sudden, terrifying lurch of a thing that has learned to manipulate space-time itself, briefly tearing the fabric of our dimension, creating momentary distortions that flicker at the edge of perception. He leaves behind faint, lingering trails of a viscous, iridescent residue. Not water, not melted ice, but something that shimmers with an unnatural, sickly luminescence, like oil on stagnant water or the excretions of some deep-sea creature, before vanishing back into the void it came from, only to reappear moments later, further down the ice. And the puck, that innocuous rubber disc, is no longer a tool of the game. It's a grotesque extension, a dark, pulsating growth, an external organ of his own unnatural anatomy, vibrating with a malevolent hum that only those closest to the ice can feel. His control isn't mastery. It's a horrifying adhesion, as if tiny, unseen tendrils, fine as spider silk yet stronger than tempered steel, extend from his being, from beneath his skin, latching onto the puck, drawing it in, making it a throbbing, subservient appendage, bound by a parasitic, unholy covenant. It sticks to his blade with an unnatural intimacy, not by physics, not by friction, but by a parasitic will, leaching something invisible from the ice, from the very air, from the collective essence of the game itself, and from the players around him. When he dangles, weaving through helpless defenders, it's not grace, it's the chilling, inevitable path of a supreme predator, dissecting the field of play, disassembling his opponent's strategies not by superior skill, but by an ancient, cold, calculating intelligence that sees them as mere resources, biomass to be processed. He doesn't just pass through them. He drains them, leaving behind a subtle, psychic residue of disorientation, dread, and a profound, inexplicable exhaustion that lingers for days. The other players, those unfortunate souls caught in his gravitational field, are not merely outmaneuvered. They are subtly consumed, their will to resist slowly leached away, their movements becoming hesitant, their reactions dulled, as if an invisible, parasitic fungus has taken root in their minds, feeding on their ambition, their hope, their very life force, leaving them hollow. They are not merely beaten, they are assimilated, their essence adding to his own horrifying, growing power, each deflection, each lost puck, a tiny morsel absorbed. This redefining of the game is not an evolution. It is a horrifying metamorphosis where the very rules, the very spirit of hockey, are being slowly, inexorably rewritten, not by human ingenuity, but by an alien calculus, a parasitic program installed into the sport's very core. He is not just playing the game. He is becoming the game, absorbing its players, its history, its very essence into a grotesque, singular entity, a monstrous consciousness expanding with every shift. Each award, each trophy lifted with a triumphant, yet strangely vacant, stare is not a celebration of human achievement, but a grim offering, an increasingly potent conduit for this insidious transformation, a siphoning of the sport's collective lifeblood, leaving it pale and anemic. The ice groans, the boards creak, the foundations of the arena shudder, not under the weight of glorious play, but under the strain of an unnatural expansion, a silent, sickening growth, like a tumor feeding voraciously on the world's adoration. And when he scores, when that puck, that fleshy, pulsing extension of his will, finds the back of the net, it's not a moment of triumph for a team. It's a consumption, a sickening absorption of energy, a brief, horrifying release, a wet, guttural sound lost in the false roar of the crowd, before the hunt for more continues, relentless and unsated, leaving a lingering, putrid taste in the air. You realize then, with a jolt of pure, unadulterated revulsion, that his genius isn't a gift from the heavens. It's a terrifying, beautiful, and utterly disgusting curse, an infection that has found its perfect host. So, when you hear the whisper again, that faint, almost imperceptible hiss on the ice, ask yourself one last, chilling time. Have you ever truly considered the sound, or what dark, silent pacts it truly signifies?